or anything like that. But yo, I at the airport, wherever they get their water from, just saying the one thing I will give New York over Florida, especially like that Central Florida, whatever it is that the drinking water there is is haphazard or whatever it is. So see what's going on. So welcome back to Casual Supremacy. We're doing our thing right here by popular demand. There's just so much to talk about, guys. It is July 21st, 2024.
Shots.
It is shots fired. Shots fired.
No pun intended.
Yo, I mean, listen, man, I had nothing to do with it. I've never been to Pennsylvania. I've been to Pennsylvania, but it's been a long, long time. And so we have to talk about what's going on in this world. This is Casual Supremacy. This is the Dyckman podcast. We're here talking.
Welcome back, guys. I know it's been a second, but I know a lot of you guys asked for the Casual Supremacy content. So
there's a lot to unpack here. And so I don't know. Everyone wants to listen. I will say this. Everywhere I go, everyone's talking about this Trump assassination attempt. I'm talking about, like, I work in the West Village by, like downtown, the meatpacking district. You just see random people talking about it. I was walking here, going down the street. Someone was like, Don is like, he's like the Matrix. Like, it was like Neo, Don.
Neo the one.
I'm telling you, I just heard someone like here in Dyckman, these two dudes were walking down. I knew exactly what they were talking about. And that's what's important. I will say this. If this event changed your opinion on the situation, like if you were pro, RFK or pro Biden, and then all of a sudden Trump got shot at in Pennsylvania and you thought to yourself, you know what, I'm going to vote for Trump now. I think you're a little silly. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if that was your thing, like, oh, he got shot at, I saw 50 Cent. He came out. We put up the image of him and the many men, which death upon me. I will say this, man.
Bro, it's trending. It's trending.
It is totally trending. I will say this. 50 Cent and you have almost nothing in common. And I'm going to tell you, in politics, you vote for the people who are going to probably put you in the best situation, right? 50 is probably worth about $200 million. So if you're taking 50's advice on who to vote for, like, unless you have that kind of money, you got a trust fund. Hey, man, I don't know who's watching right now. God bless you. But you probably don't have as much in common with 50 Cent as you think you do, just because you listen to his music. And that's the only thing I'm going to say about that. There's a couple of things about the situation that really scare me with the election, whatever it is. My two issues, obviously, talking about everyone wants Biden out. He's old. AOC said the thing in the room that no one really wants to talk about, right? No one really wants Kamala. Like, they picked Kamala a couple of years ago, as vice president. But no one has imagined her as the president of the United States. I don't care if you're pro-Biden, pro-Trump. The only person who said it, I don't know if you watched the AOC, she did a live for about an hour, and she said it. She's like, behind closed doors, no one's really feeling the whole Kamala thing. So the thing is that if Biden leaves, they want everyone out. They're gonna clear that whole thing out and see what's going on. Go ahead.
Who would they have run?
I would say, for me, the guys who I would vote for are Newsom and Buttigieg. Like, I think I think I tweet that. It is what it is. I know people don't like. I lived in California for a long time. I think Gavin Newsom is the future. If you're into Democrats, that's the kind of guy that I think could be a Trump. He's tall. He does the whole same thing. Listen, he's rich too. He does the whole thing. I mean, he's not as rich as Trump or whatever it is. Maybe worth 22 million. Buttigieg, who's our I think travel secretary or something like that. He was a Marine. He went to Harvard Law. He's just like a smart guy. Like I said, I just think that I want people who have at least gone through some civil, went to law school, like Buttigieg. He went to like actual, he's been doing the thing. You know what I'm saying? He was in Afghanistan. He did a few tours there. I think that could be it if they switch off soon. But if they don't, and listen, I'm not telling anyone who to vote for, right? Like, that's not what Casual Supremacy is about, because, to be honest, I think that each of them, to be honest, like, don't have anything to do with who's really running this country. You know what I'm saying? Like, the money is the corporations. It's the weapons manufacturers. No matter what happens, guess who's getting their $1 trillion? And I think it's $895 billion this year.
Ooh.
The military industrial complex got them. We are fighting wars, or we're preparing to fight in 3 different wars: Ukraine and Russia, China, Taiwan, and the Middle East. And we're the guys who sell the weapons to all of them. And people don't understand that.
Everybody.
To everybody. If
We've
there's
spoken about this.
and think about it, now that you really are seeing what's going on, everyone thinks that like Trump is gonna like, oh, he's gonna end everything in the Middle East, and he keeps saying, oh, I'm gonna end everything in Ukraine. Like, he's not gonna end any of this. He's gonna take his money, they're gonna pay him off, and he's gonna just keep this whole thing. This whole thing is just gonna keep going, and everyone knows that it's just kind of a lie anyway. Because no one, but understand is that I think if you've been an American, again, I'm 40 years old. We know who really runs this, and it's never the president of the United States. It's about who, you know.
Yo, shots fired. Like I said before, we don't sell avocados.
We sell toolies, okay?
We
are the weapons manufacturer of the world. And if there's a war, if there's beef going on, guess where they're getting it from? We do not make food. We make everything here, but that is the one thing that these people are going to get paid on. So, okay, Israel's going to get their weapons.
And it's full.
Ukraine's going to get their weapons. Taiwan's going to get their weapons. We're going to protect our interests. And go ahead. You said
how you send Ukraine about $1 billion.
More than that.
More than that?
Yeah.
Nonetheless, he said it when he addressed the nation. He said, well, we're not even sending soldiers. We're just sending them weapons.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you guys are lending them $1 billion or more to buy weapons from us?
No, they're giving them their old weapons. The joke is America. What we're doing is we're sending them our old stuff and we're restocking our new weapons.
Oh, we're selling them.
We're giving it to them
with our own money.
It's a proxy war. My point is that we're fighting Russia, and Russia is an ideological war we've been fighting for like, you know, like we're talking about close to 100 years, the Cold War, all this stuff. It's like, okay, so we don't have to send soldiers. We love that. It's like the drones, you know, instead of, it's like a proxy war, meaning that we don't have to send, no one in America is looking at what we're doing too closely, because we're not like, no Americans are dying right now. No Americans are dying right now.
Yeah.
But I want to say something else. If you're looking at what happened just recently, they passed that last $895 billion defense thing, which no one talks about, whatever it is. But the one thing is if you're between 18 and 26, this is the only good thing, I'm being an old man like myself. If you're between 18 and 26, you're automatically now registered for the draft. Congratulations, my friends, because you have been auto selected for the draft, just in case anything goes off. Just know that. I don't know if they snuck that in real quietly.
Oh, that's a real.
But that's a real thing. 18 to 26. Just so you know, you young cats who want to, you want to support Trump, go for it. It's all good. My point is, and Biden is he's just as bad. He's
going to ask you, like, oh, register, but now it's automatically.
Now it's automatic.
Oh,
now it's automatic.
18 took a page out of Fidel's book.
Oh, it's all good. And my point is that is what we do here the best. And you just got to keep that in mind. See what's going on. Follow the money. Follow the wars. See what's going on. See what's going on. Now, speaking of war here in America, I guess we're going to have to talk about Trump and this assassination. That's right.
Listen, man, there's a lot of people that believe in it. There's a lot of people that don't. There's a lot of people that say it was staged. But
okay, I will say this.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. We lost that firefighter. How can you stage that?
No. I think that something really did happen. I think, people died, and that was real. The shooter died. Thomas Crooks, 20 years old. No.
Oh, so you're not one of those people that believe that everything was staged.
I mean, but my point is that even if something was staged, like my point is you could set something up and staging it. But do I think that someone was there and was actually shooting at people and that there were shots fired? For sure. But do I think that there was parts of it that were like, this doesn't really make sense? And here's the thing. I think that you have to really know shooting and know guns. If we talk about the AR-15, now an AR-15 bullet is probably the size of like my pinky, right? It's like, the thing is, like, you should YouTube what an AR-15 bullet does. There's a reason that they want to get those guns off the thing. It is a weapon of mass destruction. It goes so fast that it shatters whatever is near it. It's not something that can just gonna go through your ear and like keep going and gonna just go straight through. It literally destroys whatever it hits. It's like Drago, an AR-15. Whatever it hits, it destroys. It is meant to destroy. So the idea, I don't know if you saw Trump the day afterwards. He had the huge Band-Aid over his ear, the white one, right? Last night, he had this little like band-aid curita over his ear like this.
Honestly, it didn't catch him full
like
force.
But
would have ripped his head off.
I mean, even full force, bro. Like you gotta look up a AR-15 bullet like hitting like a watermelon. Like even if it got close enough to touch his ear, it should have blown out his ear. It should have, like, at the very least, it was the luckiest shot in the world. They didn't hurt him. And I'm not saying that it didn't, I don't know. I saw the picture of the bullet whizzing by him. Yeah. All I'm talking about is real science. And if you've ever, like, literally Google AR-15, someone firing it at a gelatin.
Hold on, Jay. So you're saying there's some cap in the shooting?
Bro, but anyone who, do you watch Joe Rogan? And you're a big podcast. We're here podcasting. Even Joe Rogan was, I would say, whatever it is. But watch what he had to say about it. It's like there's the shadiness, the sniff test for this thing is not great. Okay, that there's this thing just buzz. There's a lot of factors, and and it's all good. Believe whatever you want to believe. My whole point is, if this changed your mind on who to vote for in November, then I feel like you're weak sauce. Like you're mentally just very susceptible. But if you're already gonna vote for Trump, it just made you feel like you were gonna keep voting for Trump. If you're gonna, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the only thing that scares me is that did this like really change your mind on the situation? And all of a sudden America cares about guns and shooting. I saw Biden was like, in America, we don't solve our problems with bullets. I was like, that's the funniest fucking shit I've ever heard. The
funniest quote.
That is all we do. That is how we solve everything. Violence solves everything. That is how. That is why we're here. Listen,
like I said, we don't do avocados, man.
We are, we are about them bullets and how quickly and people were talking about, a civil war right after and all this stuff. I'm like, against who? The kid who shot him. This is a 20-year-old. They call him an incel. They call him all this stuff, all these weird things. His father, Trump supporter. You go outside his parents' house, Thomas something Crooks, whatever it is. His 3 names, like all this, whatever it is. 20 years old, no social media. He was on a BlackRock. There's another kind of conspiracy thing about BlackRock. He was in a video about, and it's so funny. It's all this crazy stuff because BlackRock is they own the world. Those are real people like Vanguard, the financial institutions of the world who own all these corporations, all our food. Those are the real ones that we have to worry about. And they knew who he was, and they had a file on him and his family, and that they were good Republican kids. And then they found that he gave $15 to Act Blue or something like that. They're like, oh no, he supports the Democrats, this kid Crooks. But then it turned out that if you look, it had a different, like Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, not like where he's actually from, which is some real small town in Pennsylvania. The whole thing was crazy. There were people pointing at the guy, like they saw him like climbing the roof. It's like, listen, in a situation, like for like 90 seconds, you watch the interviews and someone's like, hey, we can see this kid climbing up the roof with a rifle, and they're pointing at him for about 90 seconds before the actual shooting. And it's like all of this stuff, like everyone's just looking this way and looking that way and looking this way. And all of a sudden the bullet comes and it whizzes past his ear, and it just barely takes a little nick off his ear. And he's got bleeding, and he's got the fist, and he's got the photo, and now
that picture,
Benny Man,
iconic, bro.
It's iconic, but isn't it a little funny?
Bro,
he wasn't shooting with a bird rifle or something. Like you remember, like when we were kids, like we always watched like the bad guys and the good guys in the TV shows. Whenever they get shot, at least they get shot in the shoulder. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like in the movies, like it's like all of a sudden someone's shooting at you, and the only shot they get off somehow is your shoulder. This clipped his ear. I just think there's something about it that should be looked at with at least with a grain of salt. But if that was your boy anyway, it doesn't matter. If you were gonna vote for him anyway, vote for him anyway. We live in New York. We're probably not gonna count. This is all gonna come down to Ohio, Michigan. Those are the people that this is all gonna come down to. New York is not. We're not gonna be a factor in this election. I could vote for Trump. It's all good. I might just do it just to watch the world burn. Like I kind of, my biggest fears are 2 things, and I'll come back to this whole thing. People I fear the most are his diehard supporters. Like I'm not talking about like here in New York. I mean, people who like love him and the 50 Senate. But I'm talking about like there are people like in the South, the people who like
if you're not stormed the Capitol,
like these people, the white Christian nationalists. Like if you're not like, but more than that's scaring you, because that scares me is the people who his base. If they don't get what they want, they're ready to like start a civil war. And that is, and you know, listen, they have the guns, they have the weapons. Like I said, here in New York, it's a big thing. Like here, you only associate guns and things with like with the hood stuff.
Yeah.
But if you go down south, they teach like little kids, like 5, 6 year olds. My friend lives in Atlanta. His little girl, she shoots like John Wick. I swear, you have the videos. I saw he pays for this girl to go out. She lives in Marietta, Georgia. Okay, and he has his little daughter who's maybe like 9 or 10 years old, and that girl would like end you right now. They have a different view of violence and the whole thing. But my point is, we should be afraid of what happens if, and then almost want Trump to win just because of that, because I'm afraid of his base. But what we really should be afraid about are what he's going to implement after he does win. We have parents here, right? And we're talking about like the first thing, this Project 2020, 25. No, people aren't looking at it, but they have a plan. And they're gonna cut all kinds of social securities. We have parents. I'm 40. I've been paying between 10 and 12% of my every check I've ever been paid goes to Social Security. They're saying that by the time that like 2037, it's gonna be fully, there's no money left. They've basically been using that big pot of money and just using it for whatever. And now they're like, it's an entitlement. But if you have parents and you don't have a trust fund, you should be really worried about letting Trump back in, because he doesn't care about, like, he's going to cut all that stuff. That's what JD Vance, the whole thing. I'm just saying the first thing they're going to do is they're going to cut Social Security. They're going to cut off Medicaid. They're going to just like let the old people just like whatever it is. And eventually it's going to be us too, And we've been paying into the system. They keep talking to us about like, this being an entitlement, but it's not an entitlement. The first thing Trump did when he became president in 2016, 2017, first thing he did, $1 trillion tax cuts. We're still, no one put a bigger deficit. You want to talk about like us owing money? Like that put us in such a hole, because it's like, because he's just going to go to whoever is the highest bidder. And I'm just saying that if you're not part of that group of people, you should be a little bit concerned. If you're a woman in this country, they're gonna take your, they don't want you aborting your kids. They don't care if it was rape. They don't care if whatever. It's a life to them. And honestly, parts of me as I get older,
that's wild.
I feel it.
When I saw that news, I'm like, well, bro, this is wild.
They are, you talk about like, what is it, The Handmaid's Tale and the whole thing. I'm just saying that they have a plan. That you see what the justices are doing, you see what the Supreme Court's doing, and the fuckery going on with the Supreme Court and the stuff. And they're basically they just said that the president of the United States is immune in all official capacities. So that means when he's there and is president, and he goes and decides that, there's a protest because something big happens, whatever it is, and he sends the US Army down there and they kill a bunch of people because they're not even supposed to train their own people, like some real siege stuff. I don't know if you watched that movie Siege, the old Denzel, when the terrorists come. I'm just saying that the repercussions, the conservative judges, they're going to keep taking over the Supreme Court, like they're just going to be much deeper issues. And I'm not saying that Joe Biden has been the perfect president. I don't agree with a lot of stuff that he's done, but I saw this great thing. Is like, even if you think that like Alfred's too old to take care of the Batcave, doesn't mean that you let the Joker in to, you know what I'm saying? To take care of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's one thing, like, I get it. And again, Biden's only a few years older than Trump. He may be 3 years older. And there's this thing where it's like, I don't know. You guys have to decide for yourselves. I don't think that's going to come down to most of us, people listening to this right now, because again, we're probably more tri-state area. We're probably going to go close to blue, even if it's, all you have to do is just go over by a little bit. Even 1%, I don't think it's going to toss that much. But like the rest of the country, they might. And honestly, it'll be okay. Like I said, I was born during Reagan, and I don't know nothing's changed for me between any one of these presidents. Yeah. So I'm not like scared, but I will say that if you are in a endangered position, if you have older parents who are getting ready to retire and, they've been paying a Social Security. My mom's, just turned 70. She's supposed to collect Social Security the next 2 years. They're trying to start cutting that off. And it's nothing. It's no money. It's like, it's very little money. But you've paid into this money your entire life. If you had taken that same 10, 12% and you had just invested it in like an index fund and stock, you'd be a millionaire. If they had let you keep that money instead of putting it in Social Security and just taking whatever it is and just let you put that money away, you'd be a millionaire right now. So understand is that they've convinced you that, you know what, that they're giving you an entitlement and shit. But just know that you've paid into that your entire life every time you had a check. So it's all kinds of casual supremacy.
Man, this is going deep. Pause.
Yes. Pause. No, I get pause.
Because just a minute ago, I was all for Trump, but now I'm like, hold on, Jay.
Yeah.
You're giving me another perspective on this.
You got to think about this deeper. You got to think about this like chess. You got that they're looking at this 4 moves ahead. JD Vance, all these things, they want to cut all the kinds of Social Security. They're going to turn this nation into like and military and a corporations. You know, there's like 5 corporations that lead all our food, everything that comes down to it. Like all those, you know, there's like 5 companies that own you. It doesn't matter what we drink, we consume. We go to the supermarket. You think that you're looking at like 90 different companies. You're not. You're looking at like 5 different companies owned by these same people. And they just keep making you look like you have this illusion of choice. And listen, like I said, it's tough because, like I said, I don't think that there's a big difference between either one of them. But I just think that Trump is gonna sell out to the highest bidder. He needs the money. He's shown it before, and now he knows the playbook. And now before he was like this kind of like amateur politician.
That's
now
in the water.
Now he's been around. Now they know what's going on. I'm not saying it's not going to be the end of the world. I'm going to be just fine. You're just going to be just fine. We're going to keep working hard.
Well, hopefully. Which actually brings me to my question.
Tell me.
Are we on the verge of civil war?
I think so. Yeah. I think America hasn't seen a bloody conflict in a while. I think that it'll be tough because we've been very lucky not to have anything on this land or on this like physical land. That's why we're very apathetic about war, because we pay for war, but we don't really like. It's not really like, when was the last time like we were attacked? You know what I'm saying? You want to go 9, whatever it is you want to talk about it, but like an actual physical attack, it could be very close. And that to me, a part of me is the reason that, you know what, let Trump and his supporters. I mean, some of my closest friends are diehard Trumpsters. And I'm like, okay, fine. You know what? I promise one of my friends is like, listen, I always make the same joke. I was like, I'll vote for him if I don't have to talk about him. If we don't have to have a conversation about this person, I'm down to vote for him. But we are looking, you know, we are in this country where now all we've ever known is war. It's funny that we love like the Israelis and the whole thing. It's great. But the Israeli and what they did in their history, and basically they came into land where like, this is ours now. It's basically what America did, but they did it in, you know, the 1700s, and when it was kind of more, not say more loud, but it was just less visible. But we follow the same kind of colonizer.
It's been happening since
forever.
Time.
Since the beginning of time. So
the beginning of time.
So there's nothing new about any of this. The Vikings, I always talk about this. The Romans. We were all killers. You were killed or you were killed. You were either the ones feasting or you were the ones being munched on. So you had to decide which one you wanted to be. Hey, yo. You know what I'm saying? Pause. Hey, yo. Depends on who's munching, though. Depends on who's munching. I don't know what to tell you, man. She could be hot. She could have big naturals. I don't know what to tell you.
Back to what you were saying. Since the beginning of time, it's been a war. And
it's always been,
like I said, we don't sell avocados, we sell straight toolies. And
we are the toolie factory.
The war has definitely been happening, but what I'm mostly concerned about after hearing you speak and breaking down the whole situation is civil war, bro. Because especially us in New York, like, we seem to forget that down south is an open market. Like, everybody has guns.
There are more guns. There are more guns in America than people. They're more, you know, you have to understand. It's like everyone's like about they're gonna take your guns away. They couldn't, even if they tried. It's just our whole history has just been this war game. You know, we started off and it was just basically this invasion, whatever you want to call it, manifest destiny. I'm just saying that there were people here and we were like, hey, you got to go now. You know what I'm saying? We didn't care. We're like, hey, we have the means, we have the weapons, we have the chains, we have the guns. I've gotten in trouble for saying these things. I was like, listen, we lost because the tech. It's like, listen, you can't put people in chains if you don't know have the technology or to make chains. You can't put people to the sword unless you can make the swords. It's just, Europeans in particular have been training and killing for so long, for generations, where, like the Native Americans, they were just hunting, whatever. It's a different thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just built two different type
I
of
also
humans. Europeans went to the Crusades, they had the French Revolution, the Vikings, the Romans. I'm just saying that all they've ever known is war and like take and keep moving. And I'm just saying that those are the people who started this country. The people, Americans, the original Americans were the people that got kicked out of. They were so
Of
extreme. It wasn't like you didn't jump on a boat for a month because things were cool. And this was before cruises. It was like an old wooden ship, like old wooden, you know what I'm saying? Like things have to be really bad for you to be like, and so now generations later, we're dealing with America where people are afraid of like, you know, all these other people coming in. They don't like people who are not, again, Christian nationalists. You're not European descent. I'm just saying that that's who is being looked at, and those are the people that like the Trumpsters are catering towards. And this is just a full on history of it. And I'm not saying that everyone's like, oh look, but he took out this rapper. He pulled Kodak Black out of jail. I'm like, yeah, but like Kodak Black is a millionaire, and it's like he's not pulling out like regular people. You saw what he did to the people, the Central Park Five. He still claims those people, even though they were exonerated. He put out a full page ad. I'm just saying that you have to keep in mind who you're dealing with. And I think that it's like kind of cool right now to like be pro Trump, like everyone I deal with uptown. But I'm just like, just consider what you are going to be unleashing and if this is going to be in your interest. And that is something, again, it's July. We still got a few months. Things change real fast in this country. The news cycles change real fast. But right now, it seems to be like everyone's just like looking at Joe like, oh, look, you had a bad debate. But like, he wasn't a bad president. Like he didn't like tell me like what happened. Like people, I'm like what happened in the last 4 years that like you're like, oh man, that was really like what he did. I'm just seeing it's just I'm okay with like being a boring politician. I don't need somebody who's like every day in the news. That's what I think annoyed me the first time. The first Trump thing was like he was just always for what he was saying, for what he was doing. Like I rather an old man because first of all, even if you're the president of the United States, say Biden's old man, right?
Yeah.
He's still got a whole administration of people behind him. And I'm saying that it's like a whole thing. And I'd rather have some old statesman who's been around, seeing what's going on. But I can kind of predict what he'll do. I don't know if he can really predict what Donald Trump is going to do. And I'm just saying that should just worry you a little bit. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, brother. I don't know. You vote for whoever you want. It's America. Man. You got to vote. I got to vote. We all got to vote. But we had to talk about it on Casual Supremacy.
And maybe that's part of the where they bringing in all the migrants.
I mean, maybe
getting ready for the Civil War.
When was the last time? I know. I mean, listen. We live uptown. We live in Inwood. I mean, the only migrants I see are the ones selling candy with their babies strapped on the subway, trying to sell you, I don't know when where's just war with migrants happening. You know what I'm saying? There's all these things happening right now that no one wants to pay for, cheap labor. But like this country's all about cheap labor. You have all these people who are like now just walking around trying to sell you $2 candy bars in the subway. I don't know what war these migrants are causing, but it's like, there's this great thing about like you're confusing like the culture wars with class war. And class war is just an old thing that's been going on. The haves versus the have-nots, the rich versus the poor is as old a story as time. It's just all of human history. But they always try to point like, yo, it's these poor people over here that are messing up your life right now. These is poor people are here taking black jobs. I think or Hispanic jobs, whatever it is. Like, what does that mean? In this country, but that you have this idea that black people have jobs that they do. And, like we all have this place that we all belong in. You belong here, you belong there, and just just keep in mind that kind of stuff and that kind of rhetoric. And to be honest, I almost want Trump to win. Actually, I kind of think that I do want to win just to see what happens. I just kind of like the Joker. I just want to see what. I just want. You know what? Just because so many people I know who think they're so smart. I'm like, you know what?
Bro, once
let him back on the wheel, man. Let him back in the wheel, man. I don't know.
It's gonna be like the season of Power out here. That every other minute something happens.
We're back to this whole thing until and like I said, I don't know.
Bro, this is crazy.
I wish
this whole ordeal, I would say, is crazy, top to bottom. You have the whole Biden bad debate, and then the whole shooting happens.
One bad debate
prior to that, all the migrants coming in after years of building this wall, and now Trump saying that if once he does win, that he's sending everybody back. But
all these campaign promises we've all seen and
all these wars,
all these things. That's all gonna. That's all. Listen, that's all gonna continue. Just know that the wars. You think Trump's gonna be there all of a sudden? Like there's gonna be peace in the Middle East. You think Israel's gonna back down? You think that Russia's gonna move away? You think China's just gonna be like, hey, you know what? I give up on Taiwan and all the minerals and all the things to make our phones and the whole thing. Yo, this whole thing just keeps going. It's just about who is it that you think should be in charge, and I just this is what it is. I'm like I said, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. It's just like it's just become this many men, the 50 Cent. It's like, whatever it is. But if you think you have common with 50, you think that you and 50 have the same political and monetary situation, you're fucking wrong. This dude does not. I'm just telling you that. Take it for entertainment, but understand that you're messing with your life. You're messing. Like I said, I have a mom who's 7 years old. I think about her retirement. Imagine them just being like, I'm going to cut off Social Security. My mom's been here for, it's like, it's crazy.
Shout out to La Doña.
Yo, to La Doña, happy birthday, Yolanda. But honestly, be concerned. Think about all the money they've taken from you already. And then now they're basically saying, think about it. They're saying that it's going to end Social Security 2037. No matter what happens, they're going to run out of money for Social Security in 2037. I'll be maybe in my 50s. I still won't even be able to collect Social Security. But they've taken that money my entire life. That 10%, that now it's 12%. It was supposed to be even less than that. So keep things in mind. This is Casual Supremacy. This is the Dyckman podcast. Thank you for having us here. We love talking. Listen, we'll come back to this. If you guys think this is interesting and want to talk about this, I'll talk about this. It's a lot to unpack, especially as this election and 2024, JD Vance, all that shit. Blah, blah, blah.
Guys, make sure to check out the whole Casual Supremacy library over at our playlist on the page.
We're excited.
Yeah. JP, Casual Supremacy.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
From the MC.